Welcome to another episode of the PPSS Success Show. My name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, I'm a best-selling author, and every single day I help others unlock potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on the show, we have another amazing guest. This is somebody I've seen live on stages speaking. I've seen him speaking at virtual conferences. I've seen him a lot socially as well, and somebody I have always admired because always giving great content, asks great questions, always adding value, and he has great energy as well. So I couldn't wait to have him on my show. He has a great passion for investing in businesses, real estate, and people. And while doing so, whether it's from ground floor and up, whether it's hands-on or financially, he's there to help them grow and prosper. He also has 13 plus years of law enforcement, which leads to a lot of other questions I'm going to have. So please welcome serial entrepreneur, senior managing partner of MORKE Investments, Mr. Rick Dunn.
Hey, Fong, thank you very much. That was a great, just bringing me in. Intro. I should just take you everywhere with me because that was very impressive. Thank you.
Sounds good. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you very much for your time and for your upcoming stories that you're going to be sharing, because I always love hearing people's success stories, what got them to fail, what got them to succeed, whatever it is, so that we can all learn. And I'm sure that you have a lot of great nuggets to share with us today. But before we dive into the tough questions, you're investing in businesses, real estate, people, and all that great stuff, but you didn't start off that way. So share with us that journey. How did you become the Rick Dunn you are today?
Well, it's kind of funny. I started out in law enforcement in South Georgia as a deputy, then moved up to be a state trooper. A friend of mine told me I needed to become a state trooper in Georgia, so I did so. Then after about 13 years or so of that, law enforcement, I was recruited to go overseas as a contractor for the State Department. So we went over there, military contractor, but law enforcement was over there a lot doing so. So I went overseas to Afghanistan for 2 years, done that. Decided to, instead of coming back and finishing my law enforcement career with the state, I opened up some security companies in Atlanta. Ended up growing it to be pretty large, took on a couple partners, and then we ended up expanding and going into 6 other states, total of 12 different security companies. We either bought, merged, or just started from new, scratch there in other states. That was kind of funny. Going from Georgia to California was my largest location, going out that way. So it was a very interesting career, almost 12 years of doing that, and then ended up selling those companies. Some people was wanting them, and ended up selling them right there during the pandemic, actually, because security was actually growing during that time. We didn't think it would. We thought a lot of places would shut our businesses down, with the security guard services. But it was different. It was actually, we picked up a lot of business, at least on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. West Coast did slow down some, but East Coast took off. And I guess some other investors saw the potential in that and decided they wanted the security company. So they made myself and my partners an offer we couldn't refuse. So we ended up taking it.
Do you think it had something to do with everybody staying at home and supplies going down, and they're afraid that maybe something big's going to happen, they need more security?
I think so. It was a different time. A lot of our stuff we ended up picking up was just I'll tell you one thing. One of our contracts was for Walmart, actually, and they hired us to sit on the toilet paper aisle just so people wouldn't take all the toilet paper. And I can't make this up. It's funny how people just kind of went crazy, and we started getting just crazy contracts for security guard services.
Was there a point in that time where you went, I used to go and serve and protect, and here I'm counting people's items?
Yes. It felt like I was going backwards, but the pay went up, so I was okay with it. It gave my employees different benefit packages that way, because we were able to charge more because of the demand was so high. So we were able to pay our employees more, which made it really beneficial for everyone. At my highest point, I had over 300 employees through my company, U.S. wide.
Mm-hmm. Well, what was that point where you decided to no longer be part of law enforcement and start your own company? What made you change your mind?
Family and money. I saw how much more money I made in the private sector versus the government sector, and thought, well, hey, I should be able to do that. So I just jumped right in with both feet, took a leap of faith. And my wife said, well, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And that's I did. It was amazing, just a boy from South Georgia ended up running a multi-million-dollar company with over 300 employees. With no real big education background. I don't have a bachelor's or a doctorate degree or anything. I'll just go out and work and go get it.
Yeah. Would you say that being in law enforcement before allow you to have a certain mindset or advantages when it comes to businesses?
I do. Because you're always, I guess, brought up in different situations. You're used to adapt and overcoming things. Reading people's body languages is one big thing that law enforcement taught. Situation awareness is probably huge, especially in business.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know what not to say versus what to say, in my opinion.
Cool. So like screening tenants is something that you're probably very, very good at.
Well, I try not to do that, be honest with you. I let the management companies do that. I love real estate. My wife and I used to do one house every year or two, when I was in law enforcement. And now we're, investing in other people's houses and projects. Something I would have never thought I would have been able to do. But, after having some coaches, some of our own coaches, that groups that we're in for, it opened my eyes up to a whole different ballgame of people. I always said that I should never be the smartest person in the room, and I make that a point to grow that way. And that was one thing when the coaches said is sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. So I did. I actually started investing in properties in other states that I would have never went and done.
Mm-hmm. Very, very cool. I remember one of the properties that I bought. Here in Canada, we have RCMPs, right? And it turns out the former owner or the owner who's selling the house to us, he's a RCMP officer. So he's walking around the house, showing us all these little places, the rooms and whatnot. And he goes, this is where you can store some crack. This is where you can hide your heroin. This is where you could do this. And all these little cabinets, like, that's nice to know.
Yeah, that's probably a bad spot. But that's what we look for. I try to stay out of real bad areas, but up and coming areas are great to invest in. And like I say, at MORKE Investments, we actually we take partners on. We're not an investment company far as a financial planners and stuff like that, but we have projects that we manage ourselves, that we own outright, that we go in and we'll rehab a company or a house, because some companies need rehab also. And so we'll bring in partners for each project. And then again, sometimes we actually just invest in other people's projects. So and become their partners. So we, that's kind of how we do things now. We used not to do that, but I think with just some of the different people that I hang around now at these conferences, some great people that we met, like yourself, and learning off of what y'all do, it really helps me and what my passion and what I see myself in the future as.
When you see a business that's potentially a client for you, or somebody who's going to hire you on for consulting or help, what are some of the things that you look out for? So like your screening process, saying, okay, well, if it hits these marks, that's probably not a client I want to take on, or if it hits these marks, it's probably somebody I could take on, and I'm sure I could get them to be successful.
Well, one I want to look at is when a business that I want to partner in, I'll go in and look and see if one, is there growth still in that company? Is the management worth keeping? Do we need to tweak it, train it, or do we have to bring in our own staff? Is the area good? Because sometimes a business can be good, it's just the area is bad. It may not just support that business. So I tend to look at businesses more in bigger cities most of the time, but I have had some businesses in smaller cities that actually done better than the bigger ones. One of my smallest cities was Greenville, South Carolina. I didn't think it would do much, but boy, did it take off. And I guess it's because the people there just saw something new. We tweaked some stuff with the company we took over. Added some new personnel. We added some more new equipment in there, freshened it all up, made it look a lot better, up with the times, and just the clients came at that point. Customers came, and the company grew. sold it 3 years later for a great profit. And the people actually that bought it, I actually stay in touch with them. They've actually grown it twice as much then, in the past probably 5 or 6 years. So they're steady growing. And I look at the growth patterns. If we can continue growing, then it's worth something to me.
What would you say are some of the most common things that you go in and tweak that allows businesses to grow at a pretty good rate?
Well, a lot of times I look at the personnel, see do they have the business at heart? Does the employees feel like an employee, or do they feel like they're part of something bigger? I understand there's your part-time employees, your full-time employees, and your sometime employees. And I get that. A lot of people just want to do their own thing and go. But if I can have employees or management team that actually wants to take on a business and feel like it's part of their little baby, I think when you have that, you can fix other stuff pretty easy, as long as you have the personnel that cares about your product, cares about what they're doing, your company. And I've seen companies grow a lot faster when they have employees that take care of, and taking care of your employees. Gift cards are great. When they don't expect them, you give a little gift card out to somebody, or Thanksgiving meals we would give out to our employees, or have cookouts. That brings people together, and it makes them think, this is a great company to work for. And if the employees take care of you, the company can take care of the clients or the customers, and it'll just continue growing.
Now, for somebody like yourself who's investing in different types of companies, and because you invest in so many different types of companies, like different industries and whatnot, what would you say to somebody who is just joining or just is interested in investing in businesses, and they go, you know what, I have to love that product, or I have to love that type of industry to be able to invest in it? Is there some truth to that, or is there something that, you know what, business is business, you can kind of apply this in different industries?
Well, just my opinion, business is business. It's the same, but it's also different no matter where you are. I think you do have to kind of like what you're doing if you're going to be in the day-to-day operations. On an investor standpoint, most of the investors, they will do what it needs done or doing, to make the money that they need to make, to end up following up and doing a business that they love. Because a lot of times businesses that you love don't make as much money as businesses that you just want to make business on.
Yeah.
So if you can make money with a business, if you have a lot of money at that point, then you can do other things that you love and help other people in the way, because, unfortunately, it does take money to help people.
What do you find more fun, investing in real estate or in businesses?
I think it's more challenging with businesses. In a way, I think it's more fun with business. Houses are fun. You can get them done quick and swap out. Companies, you're there for the long haul, in my opinion, on most of them. It's me, I look at anywhere from 3 to 5 year period to flip them, because you need good books. And normally the businesses that I have taken over, unfortunately, they didn't have books, or they didn't have good books.
Here's a shoebox.
Yeah. I've actually handed that before. I went and let's see, Columbia, South Carolina. I think it was in Columbia. They didn't even have books. They handed me their bank statements and said, "This is my books." I'm like, "Well, that's not really your books." So unfortunately,
they'll staple it. It's like, yeah, it's a book.
Yeah, they didn't even know how much they were spending in gas every month, on their vehicles and stuff. So I look at books. So, and it's fun to build a business from scratch, but it's really fun to just take one over that needs a little life support and seeing it change. The one in California I took in within 12 months, I doubled the revenue within 12 months, just going in there, tweaking a few things, going in, talking to clients, past clients, and picking them back up. So, that's kind of the way I like looking at it.
So you mentioned how you like working with businesses who are potentially on life support, and you want to help them get back up and thriving again. Let's say if there are some businesses out there right now who may or may not be at the stage, they don't really know, what would you say a business should be at, and it would be a good time for them to reach out for you?
Well, Good question. I've taken my smallest company I've taken over had 5,000 a month in revenue coming in, which was pretty bad. You would think 5,000 a month is a lot of money. Not when you have, 2 or 3 employees. That's no money coming in. They were losing money every month.
Yeah.
And, but it was an industry that I knew about. So I was very comfortable with going into that market and taking it over. Therefore, with that being said, I don't think there's really a wrong time, except for the fact, sometimes you have mom and pops, I call it, mom and pops, one owner, 2 or 3 employees, 5 employees, so forth like that. They get overwhelmed. I know some of the business I look at when they're doing, around 500,000 a year. At that point, they're either stuck going backwards or they have to do an injection to move to the next level. That's kind of what I've seen, them 500, a million. It's like almost every 500,000, you have to add employees or management there. And I see that's where a lot of people start struggling with their business. They're thinking they're losing money. I've actually gone in and lowered the revenue, lowered business to boost the bottom line at it, because you were in that zone that really didn't make money. You were spending more money because you were too top heavy at that point. So if you lower it down a little, then you can get back in the black and start making good profit.
Very, very cool. Now, for like you mentioned there, that some people are they have to inject that new life into their company, and sometimes that's a scary thought. Sometimes it's even a scary thought to reach out for help. You're a person who faced lots of challenges, and you're a person who's faced lots of scary situations from your law enforcement days.
Yes.
How do you attack a challenge? How do you face those fears so that you're able to overcome them?
Well, I like to hit it head on, to be honest with you. I have some great partners that look at things in a different way than I do, and it's great to have people there that have different lanes, to stay in per se. I'll handle this part of a business. My partners will handle this part, and we'll go and divide and conquer, which end up taking a lot of these businesses head on. And that's the way I like looking at it.
Nice. Surrounding yourself with great people, right?
Yes, I do. That's what I do. I'll assure you, I'm not the smartest one in the room, but my friends are.
Now, how do you determine that delegation or that separation of, here, you do this, you do that, and not really cross paths too much or step on each other's shoes?
Yeah, well, we don't step on each other's shoes too much because when we go in, we all know kind of what lane we're taking because of our background. My other 2 partners, or 3 partners actually, 2 of them have either law enforcement or military background, and one's just a smart engineer.
Wow.
So he kind of does the book, the number stuff for him. But us 3, I tend to think we're more boots on the ground. We'll go in and look at management, look at their logistics on some companies. Everything's a logistics hassle. No matter what you think, what company you have, you still have logistics as far as getting employees from point A to B, getting their supplies in, uniforms. People look at that. You don't even think of the uniforms, but look at Chick-fil-A. Everybody's in a uniform perfectly. It doesn't happen that way. They have a logistics officer, a supply officer that makes sure everything gets to people. And I just think when you go in, you break down a company in each little section that it can be in, and then you find the weak links and you put your efforts on the weak link, and then move it up from there.
Now, from your experience of working with so many different companies and real estate and people, is there a story that you could share where it's your biggest lessons learned kind of story?
Let's see, lessons learned. Yeah, lessons learned, I guess, would be try not to make anything too personal in business. When I started out, everything was me. I was helping, doing everything. I was fulfilling the contracts. I was selling the contracts. I was dealing with, like property managers or, managers for companies. And you have to realize that they're trying to run a business also, that your clients, most of my clients were business owners themselves, or management companies for business owners. And, the way they're probably getting pounded from both sides. And then you come in and they probably don't like it that you're there. Being brought in to help out on a property or your company, And so you're the bad guy off the gate. You don't need to take that personal. It's just business. Maybe go in, like now I've learned to go in and explain what we do, why we're there, instead of just a bull in a china shop walking in and just tearing up everything from the get go. And you need to learn to explain why you're there and your reasoning. And, most of the time after that, people will relax. They know you're not there for them. And you can work together at that point. And I feel that that's probably one of the best things to do. I was poor at that at the beginning of my career. I went in there and just tore it all up. The bull in the china shop, and I can do this, but it takes a team.
Mhm.
And you go in there, be calm, let everybody know what's going on, and it'll all work out.
Mhm. A lot of what you said there also alludes to good communication.
Yes.
Being able to talk the right way to other people, be able to inspire, being able to motivate other people, and also get them to listen to what you have to say and lead by example kind of thing. Now, you also speak on stages, you speak on webinars, you speak on conferences. So communication has become a very big thing for you. Is that something that you've kind of realized all of a sudden, you know what, really need to work on this so that I could really grow? Or is it something that you've naturally had, or something you've learned from your law enforcement days? How did you go about developing those skill sets?
That's a good one. I'm not sure. I remember in college one time I took a speech class and I thought it'd be great, and I did awful in it. He told me I talked too much. I did my hand gestures too much. They just bombed me out. It was kind of funny. My partners say I've always been the face of the company. I can get anybody to lighten up a little bit, put their guards down. I'm just more of this is what you get. I am what I am. I don't sugarcoat it. People love me lots of times. Either you love me or you hate me. But I tend to cut the fool a lot, make jokes. Sometimes that's probably not the best thing to do, but it's worked for me. Works for my companies, and my partner's more of the serious guys, but we have a good time at whatever we do. And when it comes to the talking on stage a few times, I've done. It's been fun. It was great experience. I've enjoyed it. Love to do it again. This podcast here is awesome. Thank you for bringing me on. I watch all your stuff.
Awesome.
We have some mutual friends on there, and I really enjoy watching people do this, and it's fun.
Oh, so you know all my secrets already.
Well, not all of them, but I'm going to get them. I'm going to learn.
Awesome. You also talked about surround yourself with great people, coaches, and mentors. Now, from the time that you've started being associated with coaches and mentors, was there something that a coach or a mentor said that all of a sudden went click? I didn't know that, or oh wow, I should have done that from the beginning. And like, is there something very specific that you could remember that kind of turned on the lights for you with a coach or a mentor?
Man, well, it's funny because my coaches is pretty brutal to me, as you probably know, one of JT, he'll kill you. But sometimes he just tells me, just go do it. I have the passion to do it, pull the trigger. I've always been the guy to pull the trigger pretty fast, but now I kind of analyze the deal a little more, make sure it's the right deal for me, the right fit, instead of just jumping in. And I think that was one of the things he helped me out with, but he also opened my eyes on, looking outside of the perimeters I'm used to. Like I went into some deals in California on a house, Texas on a house, Florida, Nevada. I'm invested in more things now. And that really opened my eyes about the fact that, my coaches said, what I've done is great. Pat myself on the back, woohoo, but move on. That win was yesterday. And and if you're wanting to grow, you have to expand out and you have to get in other deals that I'm not the sole owner of a deal, because unfortunately you only have so much money, but there's people that have more money that you can get into their deals. Right. And that's really opened my eyes a lot and helped me out a lot.
Mm-hmm. Throughout this whole interview, I can really sense that you have a very, very positive attitude. You're always smiling, you're always happy. It seems like you don't really have many worries or many negative thoughts. So how do you maintain that kind of mindset? What goes through your day? How do you start your day so that you can start off on the right foot?
Well, I try to say everything's going to work out for me, but even though it doesn't a lot of times. But I have a great support system. My wife, she stays on me a little bit, so I can make sure I stay on track. Even though I get off track a lot, I'm world's worst about writing notes. I always say it's right here, but I got a pad now and paper that I carry around or keep notes on my phone, and I just try to look at it as can I do better today than I did yesterday? Can I make more money? Can I help out another situation or another project for somebody? Can I help by getting into their project? And if I'm doing that, and at the end of the day, if the family's taken care of, the family's doing well, I consider that a great day.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're a person who's been able to kind of jump over that hump from being an employee, serving, to having your own business, entrepreneurship, and then investing and helping other people become successful too.
Yes.
If other people are wavering on, oh, should I jump over? Should I not? What kind of advice do you have for them to make the right decision for them? Because it may not be the right decision to jump over.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can say what I will say what I would do. A lot of times what I did was you just had to pull the Band-Aid off. Either you're going to be an entrepreneur or an employee, but it's hard to be both because there's only so much time in a day. So if you have something that you want to go do, a business that you want to do, me personally, I would just jump in and do it. Will you ever save enough money? Probably not. It's kind of like I'll have a baby when I have enough money, or when I can afford it. You're never going to afford it because something's always going to come up. If an opportunity knocks, jump on it. It only takes one opportunity, one deal to change your life. So why not just try it?
Now, what if the people that tells them it's too risky, it's too hard, don't do it, are some of the closest people in their lives?
Well, of course.
Of course.
The closest people you have is always your biggest critic, in my opinion, a lot of times. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're not smart enough. You're not this. I mean, hey, after 5 minutes of talking to me, you probably don't think I'm too smart either. But I did pretty good with my companies.
I don't know. I think you're a little bit too humble about that.
But, I just look at it as if it's something you think you can do, there's always going to be a little doubt in your head, sure, in the back of your head going, oh, you maybe shouldn't have done that. And I've made them decisions where I'm like, I should have not have made that decision. But then you just make a different decision to counter it, to move forward and get to the finish line. That it doesn't matter how you get to the finish line as long as you get to the finish line. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Very, very powerful stuff. And my last formal question for you is, if you were on the world stage once again, and you had one message to share to the entire world, what do you want everybody to remember Rick Dunn for?
Ooh, to remember me for? Well, first most, I hope they say I raised a great family, that I did well for them, that I always was joking, no matter what the circumstances was, even though it was a bad circumstance, at least I cracked a joke about something and had a good time when I did it. And just try. I tried my best, and as long as I can go to bed saying I tried my best, and somebody else says, hey, he tried his best and he succeeded, that's great. Will I get knocked down a few times on the road? Of course, but just get back up. And as long as they just say, the family was number one, and the rest of it was gravy, then that's I'll be happy.
Awesome. Well, those are wonderful words to be remembered for. Now this leads me to some more like lighthearted questions.
Okay.
When I read your bio, I thought, oh, you have a great passion for bookkeeping, and then I took another look. I'm like, no, that's not bookkeeping; it's beekeeping. So when it comes to beekeeping, why is that so fascinating to you?
Well, after I sold my companies, I've always looked at honeybees, and I kind of thought it was funny, like, man, that's kind of cool how they make all that honey. And I sold my companies, and my wife said I needed to get a hobby. So I said, well, I've been reading up about honeybees. So I bought a bunch of them, went and picked them up, and came home, and she said, I told you to get a hobby. I didn't realize you was going to go buy honeybees. And I came home with 2 or 3 boxes of honeybees, a couple 100,000 bees. And oh Lord, it was just funny. And now it's just got into it to where My girls, they don't really care for the bees that much. But I have an 8-year-old that we have him a little bee suit, and he'll go out there and he'll play with the bees also. I actually just enjoy watching them coming in and out of the box, and I put a bird bath up so they'll stay in it. My wife says, now the birds don't come around because the bees, it's a bee bath now. But I really just enjoy watching the bees. And the honey is just a bonus.
So you sell honey as well then?
Well, I hadn't sold any yet. I normally give it away, but I will sell it. But yeah, I
Oh.
have like 100 pounds still in my kitchen. My wife tells me I need to do something with it. It's just in my cabinets. And I haven't even harvested this year yet.
Wow. Now, you say you love watching bees work and move around and whatnot. After all those hours of watching bees, is there something about bees that taught you about life or about business?
Whew. Well, the funny thing is they work all their life and they have no enjoyment afterwards except for the honey. And the problem is with the honey, people like me steal the honey from them. So life could be, full of nothing at the end of the day. You're not promised tomorrow.
Mhm.
So enjoy yourself, enjoy your time, enjoy your family, and work when you need to work, and then enjoy yourself when you don't.
Wow, you can learn stuff from anywhere.
You can. Yeah, I love them bees. I'll send you some honey.
Sounds good. I look forward to it. 5 quick questions to wrap it all up. Give me the first thing that comes to mind. If you were stranded on the desert island, yes, desert island, what food can you eat for the rest of your life with no consequence?
With no consequence. Ooh. Well, I tend to like pizza and burgers.
What event would you like to win the gold medal in?
What event? Gold medal. Wow. Wrestling.
Have you wrestled?
I did. I was a collegiate wrestler in high school.
Oh wow. It could have been a completely different career path for you.
Could have been.
If you were going on a long road trip and there's only one song that is on a loop over and over and over again, and we're talking hours on this trip, what's that one song you don't mind listening to over and over again?
Oh man. That's a good one. I have no idea. I have so many good songs I listen to. I can't even think of a name right now. I know this is funny. The first band comes to mind is Elton John, for some reason, but I like all his songs. So I don't know, something like that, I guess.
Elton John shows up at your door and he goes, "Hey, I hear you love my music. Let's hang out. Let's get to know each other, but I'm hungry. What's that special dish that you can prepare and serve them?"
Ooh, I like I do a salmon pasta. I'll end up baking the salmon and doing the pasta with some peppers, bell peppers, some garlic, some pesto, and it's all. I put olive oil on it as the seasoning, so it's as the season. So it's a great little meal. I'd probably do that, and it's fast.
Sounds great. I think I'd rather that than the pizza that you're taking to the island.
Yeah, that would probably be good because I'm on the island. I can catch me some fish.
I think it's Hasbro, right? They have Monopoly, correct? I believe it's Hasbro. Hasbro has Monopoly, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Monopoly phones you and go, you know what? We're gonna make a game on you. What are the 5 things, the 5 tokens that people can use as a moving piece that represents you the best?
All right, probably I'd probably say a little patrol car, a gun, maybe some coins, like a little money thing. I like to have a little bee there, and because I like my honeybees, and probably maybe a little miniature statue of the whole family.
Very nice. I think that bee is going to be first dibs for most players.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like my bee.
Last question. What is success like? But before that, give me a number from 1 to 5.
I'm gonna have to pick three for three
One,
kids.
two, three. So how is success similar to coveralls?
Coveralls. Well, I like coveralls because you need coveralls on the farm while you're playing around, so you can hold your tools and everything. So I think with a good set of coveralls, um, on let's say the farm, for instance, how I do my bees, you can keep your extra tools in, and that way you don't have to find it. And if you don't have to look around for your tools, and you can get straight to what you need, you'll be more successful on the project that you're working on.
Nicely done. So that is how success is like coveralls. Once again, thank you very much for your time. I had a lot of fun chatting with you, learned a lot about stuff, business, and also bees as well. If there's anything that people wants to reach out to find you, what's the best way?
Yeah, you can go to morkeinvestments.com, MORKE investments.com, or you can just send me an email at rick@morkeinvestments.com.
Great, thank you. Any last words from you?
Well, I just want to say thank you for bringing me on, and look forward to seeing you again in person pretty soon.
My pleasure, and thank you very much for your time. Had lots of fun, and I look forward to seeing you live as well, and potentially seeing you speak again. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. I'll see you in California, I'm sure.
Awesome. Thank you very much. For everybody, he is Rick Dunn. My name is Fong. Until next time, today is the day to lock your peak potential. We'll see you later.